You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting live from the Concierge Landscape Studios, and this hour is also brought to you by Extreme Exteriors. For expert installation, exterior siding, roofing, soffit, fascia, gutters, decks, windows, and more, give them a call, 763-441-1334, Extreme Exteriors. And we're so glad that you're with us here on a Sunday morning. If you're just joining us, we just got off the phone with an attorney, Ted Gladys. He's also the city commissioner at Wilton Manors, located in Broward County, was talking to us about a homeowners association called the Boulevards of Tamarack Homeowners Association. And it's a familiar refrain. A lot of associations over the last few years have been concerned about the quality of the association. They want to have a good balance between what that means in terms of renters and owners and mix, maybe even at all.
I was going to say, I beg to differ with you. Most associations that raise this issue don't want any renters. They want to ban renters. That's their goal.
And it's because they have there's a notion of what they have in mind in terms of what is the root cause of some of the issues that they deal with, and we talk about that quite a bit on this show. Mm-hmm. But we've got a lot of folks that have a lot of different ways that they're trying to kind of tackle this issue, and they think so
and manage,
responsibly, right?
And certainly it makes sense. They do need to find a way to manage all of the homes in the homeowners association, including the rental units. Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about that more. We're going to be talking next now with Dan Greenstein from Bernick Lifson. Dan's on the line now. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, Gene. Good morning, Tony.
Hi, Dan.
Hi.
Well, you heard us talk a little bit about this association, the Boulevards of Tamarack Homeowners Association. What do you think of their approach in terms of trying to maintain the quality of buyers and renters? Because in this case, they weren't trying to get rid of renters, but they wanted to pre-approve them.
I think Floridians are crazy. I think they're
Tell us what you really think.
I think they're doing so many strange things down there with their condominium laws, and they're litigating so many different issues that I'm starting to question if it has any real relevance to us here in Minnesota.
Oh, interesting.
You know, a lot of times, Dan, on this show, we're always trying to pull things that are going on around the nation, and we can't help but get a lot of fodder from...
I would say 8 out of 10 issues
Florida,
or articles are coming out of Florida.
Texas and Nevada. And you're right, there's craziness, and I'm glad that some of that's not here, and I'm hoping that the things that we discuss here kind of help other folks have things in perspective to keep it out of Minnesota, too.
Well, there's many things that they allow in Florida, and perhaps it's because it's, the retirement capital of the states or something, or vacation land.
Yeah.
They do a lot of things in their HOAs that we absolutely cannot do here. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine was renting a condominium down in Miami for a year. He travels a lot for work, and he was going to rent this condominium. And he made an arrangement with the owner, and lo and behold, he gets a letter from the HOA saying, oh, by the way, here's the fees that you owe us for the year of rental, and you have to pay a 1-month security deposit to us, the HOA. And those things do not work here.
So on top of what his agreement with the landlord, the HOA was saying you have to also pay us a security deposit and something that kind of sounds like rent.
Exactly right. And of course, the owner of the unit had neglected to mention that when they were negotiating the rent.
Just a minor little thing.
Imagine that. Yeah.
But they allow a lot of different things that we just don't have here.
Yeah. And I mean, this association, this Boulevards of Tamarack, HOA, to say that they're going to go ahead and try and pre-approve of buyers and renters and not give any not give any reason? Or how about the idea that they put in there, and, oh, by the way, you can't sue us?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, it's something a creative attorney probably came up with, but as Mr. Gladys mentioned, until the court rules on it, it's not worth very much.
Yeah.
Here we don't really allow pre-approval of renters, and we absolutely do not allow pre-approval or options or the right of first refusal on a buyer.
Right.
Now, our courts have not really weighed in on that, and the issue becomes, is it a reasonable restriction on an owner's ability to own and sell and rent their unit? We clearly allow associations to put in rental restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we don't go as far as to allow the HOA to decide who gets to rent and who doesn't get to rent.
Well, in some ways, don't you think, organizations like Minnesota Multi-Housing Association have really led the way over the years in the things that have been put together in terms of criteria for a prospective renter, making that known prior to someone renting a unit makes a lot of sense.
It does, and it's very helpful in terms of guidelines and voluntary compliance. But think of it this way. Let's say I own a unit in a condominium association, and I, for whatever reason, have to move out, and I want to rent it. Number one, the rental market is very tight, and there's a lot of competition to get tenants in. What gives that HOA the right to approve or disapprove or say one tenant fits their standards a little better than another tenant?
Yeah.
How can they step in and tell me, the owner of the unit, who I can rent to?
Yeah.
I much prefer to look at actual behavior of the tenants. I often caution boards to say, don't worry about the specific criteria going into the rent. Why not make sure that every tenant living in the association has to comply with the declaration and the rules and regulations in the same manner that an owner does?
Yep. I agree with you completely, Dan. My message is always the HOA should pass rules and regulations that require good property management or good management by a landlord of their renter.
Well, in my experience, I think the owners cause more problems than a tenant.
Well, I always say that too.
That being said, why not treat them all the same and judge the actual behavior?
I'm with you there.
I agree with you. When you take a look at the actions that people don't like that go on in a homeowner association, people that don't pick up after pets, trash that's left out there, that's the dynamics of just living, I think, in a multifamily community, because most people say, nobody's going to see me, and they drop it, and it's no big deal. And but that's happening, like you said, with the owners as much as it is with renters.
Absolutely. It's very much like restrictions on pets. Let's say dogs, for example. Some associations want to restrict any pet over a certain weight amount, 90 pounds, 100 pounds. And what I found is some of the smaller dogs create far more problems than a large older dog. So why not, create a rule that judges or limits the dog's behavior based upon the actual behavior, not on size and other criteria.
Exactly.
Well, maybe they ought to have a poundage clause for just total occupants in the unit.
Yeah, that would be good. It's hard enough to get a weight on a dog, yet alone the occupant.
There you go.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
But everyone will be under 39 and under a certain weight. Well, I tell you what, Dan, we've got to take a quick break, but when we come back, can you stay on another segment? We want to talk to you about something that you've done not too long ago in redrafting the documents for an association in terms of how rentals are going to be looked at.
I'll be happy to.
Okay, good. We're going to take a break right now. When we return, more conversation with Dan Greenstein. You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony on AM 1280, The Patriot.